Hey guys, Steve here. Today I got to look at the Alabama Tier 7 American Battleship, available in the store for green XP, free XP. Sims on the screen, that's my build there. I'm always getting questions about the free XP ships, which one I would recommend. Personally, I like the Otago the best, but if you're not a strong cruiser player, then the choice is kind of between Tirpitz and Alabama. Now, Tirpitz slash Bismarck, I don't know, I think right about when the update came out, they said something kind of like, we've finally figured out what's wrong with these ships, and we'll fix them at some point. So Tirpitz could be very strong going forward. If they, I think it's pretty good after the adjustment they made. I think it was 2 updates ago. But if they change the nature of the turtleback on those 2 ships so that they don't take many citadels, I think the Tirpitz will rise pretty quickly. That'll leave Alabama kind of at the bottom of the Tier 7 premiums that we currently have available. Again, in my opinion. But this is a pretty strong ship. It's kind of, people compare it to the Iowa, obviously. This is much more maneuverable. It's less long. It turns a lot better than the Iowa. Doesn't seem to be quite as tanky, in my opinion. Don't have the armor view, obviously, so I don't know. I mean, you can see there incoming fire from the Jean Bart. But the Jean Bart is not, in my experience, that effective at max range penetrating ships. If you got a really high level JoJo, its effectiveness goes up because of the penetration. But most battleships kind of the sweet spot for when those guns start to shine around the 12-kilometer mark. So anyway, we're spawned north of B here on the map north. B is a very curious position on this map for some reason. The center spawns, or the center objectives on these domination mode games, are kind of the linchpin. They're kind of the key to winning. Usually you want to control one wing and the center. For some reason, everyone bugs out on B, though. Or not everyone, but a lot of people do. They spawn there, and then they sail off. Here are cruisers, getting out of town, which I can't necessarily blame them for, because their teams abandon A. This is something you don't see very often. Usually the big fight on north is A. I think people like it just because it's kind of an open water section. But they're abandoning A, which is fine. So right now I'm just trying to slow everyone down and let our team capture A and then begin to flank them. I don't need to push forward aggressively. If I push forward too aggressively, I'm going to start getting shot in the sides from these ships. Right now they're all kind of shooting me in the front. You can see we're taking a fair amount of damage. Now granted, some of the damage was one of the torps from the destroyer that captured B. But the ship, while being nose in, it's able to protect itself, but it's not kind of invincible like the Jean Bart or the Iowa. They're very hard to deal with if they're nose in on you. This one's a little bit less so. I suspect maybe the deck armor's less armored than the Iowa or something like that, or maybe I'm just getting hit in the superstructure a lot. But I find that not just in this game, a lot of games though. While you can kind of tank shots, a little bit less effective than some of the other ships. But nonetheless, we got A now. They have C and B. That's a problem. And you'll see right now we're tied in ships. But by the time the game advances, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 minutes, we'll have the lead in ships. We'll be losing on score. And that's kind of because we've gone down 2 bases and we're not really in a hurry to capture them. So we need to keep an eye on things there. But right now we're just kind of trying to let the situation develop. Backing up so we're not getting focused by everyone on the enemy team. That Edinburgh or the Edinburgh, depending on if you guys are correcting my pronunciation or not, that's trying to shoot me there. That ship's going to have a real hard time penetrating the ship at this angle. But some of those other battleships or cruisers that might have access to the broadside, they might be able to get some more shots in. Take a shot at the Fiji. He's low. We're trying to get rid of guns if possible. I'm assuming someone else is working on that ship just because he's taking a lot of damage, and we got a lot of teammates near him. But both teams now are kind of arrayed in an L shape. We got both teams kind of anchoring north and south of B, and then both teams have captured the wing and are pushing through. So we do need to keep an eye on C. A lot of players will push through the objectives into the enemy spawn. When they do that, it's not always a strong play. You want to kind of stick with the numbers and don't get too separated from your team in most situations. So maybe going back and defending kind of your rear line should be the mentality. But because both teams are pushing forward, it's kind of working out in this situation. We do need to keep an eye on C, though. We're kind of the last line of defense. If they swing through C to the north, take out the ships guarding B, and then, the game would pretty much be over by then. So now these ships are popping up here. We got a Pensacola and we got a Fletcher. I don't know if they had two Pensacola's or if that was the one we saw earlier that just pushed all the way over. Nevertheless, again, we're kind of responsible to hold this situation down over here. We're going to try and take some shots. Pensacola, we could very easily one shot if we get the roll, especially if he's sitting there broadside like that. But, we're getting some decent damage. Don't get the devastating strike, though. That's fine. The main problem here is we do have a destroyer on the loose. I didn't see what it was. I think it's a Benson or a Fletcher or something like that. And he's coming our way. So we're going to try and begin to sail away from the Benson. If you're having problems getting torped with destroyers, ask yourself, am I sailing towards destroyers that I can't see, or am I sailing away from them? If you're sailing away from them, that's the correct play, and then there's not a lot you can really do from there. Pensacola, though, we get the shot off. We finish him off. There it goes. And now I'm primarily trying to do two things. I'm trying to sail away from this USN destroyer that's spotting me and pushing me, and then I want to make sure I'm not presenting broadside to those guys south. But they've kind of seemed to have dried up in terms of their attention that they've given us up here in the north, so I'm not as concerned. Here the Fletcher and his torps pop up, but because we sailed away from the Fletcher, those torps kind of fizzled out from whenever he launched them, and now he's in a little bit of a problem here. He's got whoever's supporting me shooting him, hitting him pretty hard, and then we're able to get some shots off as well. So Fletcher takes a massive hit, and that's extremely important. Destroyers, I can't say it enough. Shoot them, get rid of them. Now here's what I'm kind of talking about. We're up one ship here. I think we're about to be up two ships once this Fletcher goes down. And then we need to check the score and just see the impact of being down two bases for the first over third of the game. You can see there we're still down, or looks like we're barely up at this point. But two ship lead, barely up on the score. And their lead, or they're going to narrow that lead and then begin to increase their lead as well. So we need to start thinking about B and C. We got a guy who's pushing into B. That's good. That's going to stop the enemy from accruing points on B. And then we're going to try and eliminate this Nagato who's sitting on B, kind of controlling it, and he's pushing forward. If we can kill that ship and then potentially swing over to C, we'll see what the situation dictates. If we're kind of running away at that point with ships, then maybe we can go for the elimination victory. If not, we need to focus on maintaining the score. My advice for domination, though, try and win in terms of score, i.e. capturing the objectives, and then if you happen to kill all the ships, that's fine. That's a little bit of a bonus. But you're going to win a lot more games in domination mode if you're controlling the caps. So keep that mentality kind of front and center in your mind here. Nagato's kind of pushing past that group of torps. We've already hit him with one Citadel. He's sitting there broadside. We're going to teach him the error of his ways and rip him another one. One Citadel there, but a couple of nice juicy shots. And now he's kind of forced to turn off and protect himself. He's going to go through that gap. And how you want to evaluate this situation is, if I can kill him, fine. But if he sails through that gap and turns right or left on the other side of those big islands over there, he's out of the game anyways. So this guy is becoming the least important target on their team. Again, he's visible, he's available to shoot at, and I don't have alternative shots that are really juicy. And if I can get rid of him, of course, that's going to put a 100-point swing towards our favor, which is always nice. So if we can kill him, fine. But if he sails away and gets away, no big deal, because he's going to be on the other side of those big islands. He won't have access to shoot anyone, and he's kind of irrelevant for the outcome of the match for the foreseeable future. Jean Bart takes a shot at us in the broadside. Luckily, he didn't do too much damage. We're going to try and return the favor, though. He's angling in, though. You can see he's kind of slowing down, and I think he's turning towards us. Maybe not as much as he should be, but we're going to take some shots there. Again, the Nagato, the points would be nice, but the Jean Bart's actively trying to damage our team. Nagato's shooting at me, yes, but we're angled right at him. We're not going to take massive damage from that ship. Jean Bart is eliminated, though, so we're going to swing our attention back to Nagato, try and take one more shot at him. Again, if we don't kill them here, not the end of the world, but it is a 100-point swing. I think they get 75 and we lose 25 or whatever the breakdown. It's 100 points if you lose the battleship. He is eliminated, but look at the score. We're up basically 100 points. Now we do have 2 caps to their 1, so that's going to grow. But at this point in time, if they kill one of our battleships, it's going to be very close to being tied, and they do get another kill there on the destroyer. So they've eliminated our destroyers, and they still have 1 remaining. So I make the decision to get C. I don't like moving to a wing. I don't like capturing positions in battleships, especially that are out of the way. Like going over to C here, I'm not going to have shots for several minutes. But this ship is fast enough. It's 25% faster than the, tiers up to, tiers 3 through 6 American battleships, which all go about 20 kilometers. This one tops out at about 25, give or take. So it's fast enough that it's not going to completely remove me from the game, and we can get over there, capture it quickly enough, and just make sure that we don't lose on points. Because all they have to do is kill 1 battleship, they'll be back in the lead. They are flipping A as well, or they're attempting to. So all the more reason to, stop them from accruing these points on C, and then just making sure that we seal this game up. It's you can see how much we're talking about the score and the implications of them holding those 2 caps to our 1 for the first third plus of the match. It's a massive advantage. If you can get those caps early and then defend them, you're going to win most games. It just makes it extremely hard, especially if the team isn't aggressive, to try and flip these caps. If they're just trying to focus on killing your team, all the ships, all you got to do is survive, and that point you'll win the game. Tago's coming around here. Doesn't have quite enough HP left for a classic Hegon Dev Strike, but the effect is the same there. We're able to rip that ship, and we're able to rip them hard. So this game doesn't end up being, a massive high damage game, but the score, I think we get just shy of 4K, which is a pretty solid score in terms of XP, and you get that just by kind of playing to win most times. If you're trying to win domination mode games, the game will be rewarding you with those high score games. Alabama, though, do I recommend it or not? I think it's a fun ship. I don't think it's necessarily the best ship known to man. I can't imagine my win rate's too big in this one, but maybe I just suck. Who knows? Anyway, Edinburgh, we line them up for a long-range shot. We're able to rain them down there, and both ships are kind of simultaneously killed at the end there. So that's another look at the Alabama, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, you should consider subscribing. I'm always putting out new World of Warships content. Questions, comments, leave them below for me. I do love to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.